If you're like me, meaning over 55 years old who's struggling to sleep, a vitamin or a mineral supplement may be just what you need to get a better night's rest. So in this video, I'm going to walk through some of my favorite sleep supplements, especially for seniors. Hey everyone, I'm on to Smart Fusion. As we age, our bodies naturally become deficient in different vitamins and minerals. These deficiencies can lead to prolonged issues with sleep. But that doesn't mean we can't get the quantity or quality of sleep that we deserve. Oftentimes, it just requires a simple over-the-counter supplement that you can pick up at almost any local drugstore or health food store. But we need to be smart about overall supplementation. First of all, taking the wrong supplements won't help your sleep issues. And some supplements can have interactions with different medication, and that's good to know about as well. You've heard me say it before, get your blood work done. It's something I tell all my patients. I always say test, don't guess. This is the most important thing that you can possibly do, is just ask your doctor. They'll happily do it. And you can even make it part of your overall physical. Ask them specifically about the vitamins and minerals I'm going to cover in this video. Remember, the vitamins or minerals and supplements themselves do not help you sleep. Instead, what is happening is that the lack of a particular vitamin or mineral is making it harder to sleep. So by supplementing that vitamin and removing that deficiency, you sleep better. For example, if you have sufficient magnesium levels, taking magnesium supplements isn't going to do anything. But if you are magnesium deficient, that supplement could be exactly what you need to get a better night's rest. Blood work will tell you exactly what your body needs for sleep. Most people, and especially most people in the older category like me, are deficient in at least one or more of these areas. After you get your blood work back, your primary care doctor will walk you through the results and help you figure out if you need supplementation at all. However, I will note not all general practitioners understand the link between things like low vitamin D and sleep. So I'm going to encourage you to ask for a copy of the report so you can review it yourself. Blood work will also tell you specifically how much supplementation you might need. So over-supplementing can be as bad as being deficient in a vitamin or mineral. Plus, with us seniors, we can take a lot of medication. You want to work with your doctor on this to make sure that any of the supplements you take are not going to negatively interfere with your medication. Before we get into this list, I'd also like to point out something about supplements. There's a lot of junk out there. Supplements aren't regulated by the FDA like other medications. So my recommendation, you want to look on the label to see a seal for USP, which stands for United States Pharmacopeia, or the National Sanitation Foundation, NSF. These two symbols mean that the product has gone through extra testing. First up, and arguably the most important, vitamin D. Vitamin D is vital for sleep. However, people over age 65 have been shown to produce less vitamin D. Could be that they go outside a little bit less, right? Maybe they're retired, maybe they're not as mobile. Or it could be that their body absorbs it less efficiently as we age. Either way, there's a link between insufficient sleep and vitamin D in older adults. One study found a group of older men and measured their vitamin D with a blood test, then looked at things like total sleep time, wake time at night, sleep onset or how long it takes them to fall asleep, and sleep efficiency. How much time in bed do they spend asleep? The study concluded that those with low vitamin D had insufficient sleep. They slept less than 5 hours a night. Before sleep efficiency, 85% or higher is considered healthy. These men scored in the 70s. And that's just one study, but it is indicative of how important vitamin D is for our sleep. Vitamin D is known to affect sleep in 3 major ways. Vitamin D deficiency is linked to short sleep duration, so you don't sleep nearly as long when you don't have as much vitamin D. Insufficient sleep and lack of vitamin D is especially strong in adults age 50 or over. So folks like me, if I don't have enough vitamin D, I'm not going to get enough sleep. And then low levels of vitamin D are connected to very poor sleep quality. Now, when we talk about our circadian rhythm, vitamin D actually helps regulate our circadian clocks. So vitamin D may activate 2 circadian clock genes, which in turn control our 24-hour circadian rhythms. Sunlight is also our single best source of vitamin D. So you really want to make sure that you can get outside and get some of it. Now here's something interesting that you might not have expected, but vitamin D appears to be related to sleep apnea. A lack of vitamin D worsens the severity of sleep apnea. Increased vitamin D levels are connected with improvements in sleep apnea symptomatology. So if you've got sleep apnea, you should definitely be looking at your vitamin D levels. Lack of vitamin D also puts you at risk for other things like cancer, diabetes, multiple sclerosis, cardiovascular disease, even depression. Now remember, vitamin D is available in foods like fatty fish, eggs, milk, yogurt, even citrus juices. Also, it's available in over-the-counter supplementation. But I'm going to be honest with you, my favorite way to get vitamin D is sunshine. 5 to 10 minutes a few times a day. If you do it first thing in the morning, it'll definitely help you wake up and feel great. It's great for your overall health, and to be fair, it's really great for sleep as well. If you live in a cooler, darker climate or have mobility issues that might prevent you from going outside regularly, then supplementation is a fantastic alternative. Let's talk about vitamin D dosages. If you're under 70 years old, you want about 600 IUs per day. Like I said, as we get older, we absorb it less efficiently. So if you're over 70, you're probably going to want 800 international units per day. That was vitamin D. Let's move on to the next big one, which is iron. Iron is one of the most important because iron-deficient anemia is really common among older adults. Almost 50%, especially women, and possible causes could include nutritional deficiencies, blood loss, taking certain medications, even poor absorption. Remember, a lack of iron can affect sleep in a number of ways. So first of all, there's data looking at anemia and insomnia. Studies have identified a gene that is associated with both anemia and insomnia. So if you've got that gene, you could have both problems. It's called the MICE one. This gene may affect both how iron is processed in the body and a person's risk for insomnia. Experts think that anemia might cause sleep problems related to the neurotransmitters involved in sleep, like serotonin and dopamine. Research has found that iron is needed to create these neurotransmitters, and people with iron deficiency anemia may have lower levels of them as a result of their low iron levels. Also, a deficiency in a specific type of iron called ferritin has been linked to something called restless leg syndrome. Now, you've heard me talk a lot about that, which is especially prevalent in older adults. Also, by the way, RLS sucks. If you've suffered from it, you know it has a huge impact on your sleep. Also, an iron deficiency can make you feel fatigued and weak. So even if you are getting decent sleep, you will still end up feeling as tired as if you didn't get a good night's rest if you have iron deficiency. Fatigue may also cause people to avoid activities that maintain their circadian rhythms, increasing their risk of sleep difficulties. Iron is also a central mineral for your body, and it needs it for things like growth and development. It makes this stuff called hemoglobin, which is a protein inside of red blood cells that carries oxygen all over the place. It's needed for hormone production, and it also promotes healthy brain development. Now, the good news is iron is available in a ton of foods. Red meat, pork, poultry, seafood, beans, dark leafy greens, vegetables, spinach, dried fruit, raisins, apricots, peas, iron-fortified cereals, you name it. Your body absorbs more iron from meat than it does from other sources. If you choose to not eat meat, you may need to increase your intake of iron-rich plant-based foods to absorb the same amount of iron as does someone who eats meat. Or you could consider an over-the-counter supplement if you are deficient. Roughly 8 milligrams per day is a recommended amount. With over-the-counter, make sure to work with your doctor. Iron overload is real and it's dangerous. Remember, I am not your doctor. If you think that you are anemic, work with your doctor and get yourself some iron and be able to function a whole lot better. Also remember, iron may cause other medicines you are taking to not work as well. Some of these include tetracycline, penicillin, ciprofloxacin, and medicines used for Parkinson's disease and seizures. Medicines that reduce stomach acid will impair iron absorption, and they may cause an iron deficiency as well. So for example, if you've got gastroesophageal reflux, and you take a proton pump inhibitor, that could actually cause an iron deficiency. Before I get into the next supplement on the list, I want to mention that I have a standalone videos on each of these supplements available on my YouTube channel. If you're thinking of taking any of these, I'm going to encourage you to check out those for more deep dive information on the positive and potentially negative effects of some of these supplements. And if you'd like to improve your sleep even further, subscribe to the channel. We release all kinds of videos with information that'll help you get a better night's rest. Next up is zinc. Now that might not have been one that you thought about, but let's think about it right now. Zinc impacts sleep in a number of ways. So number one, believe it or not, it facilitates slow wave sleep. Remember, this is important for physical restoration and for some levels of memory consolidation. It shortens sleep latency, so how long it takes you to fall asleep, and increases your overall amount of sleep. It actually ensures higher sleep quality and efficiency, but it does not trigger sleep, so it actually won't help you fall asleep, but it will help you stay asleep. The research out there is interesting. In a 2009 study completed in China, those with the highest concentrations of zinc in their body slept for 7 to 9 hours per night. And if to emphasize the point even further, one study of 5,000 Americans showed that those who slept the least tend to have less zinc than those who slept well. And guess what? Studies show that older people also don't get enough zinc. Reportedly, a high proportion of nursing home elderly, roughly 30%, have low serum zinc concentrations at baseline. And after 1 year at follow-up, serum zinc concentrations, which is the amount of zinc found in your blood at less than 70 micrograms per deciliter, is considered to be low. Now, zinc can also help with a number of issues affecting seniors: bone growth, prostate health, taste perception, cognitive function. It even promotes the healing of wounds. Now, zinc is found in a ton of foods: red meat, oysters. I'm not a big oyster guy. Poultry, nuts, whole grains, breakfast cereals, dairy products, you name it. Researchers are now suggesting that zinc supplementation of approximately 30 milligrams per day over a period of 3 months was feasible and significantly increased serum zinc concentration. So you don't have to have a lot, you just have to have some, and it'd be consistent. Also note that zinc may affect the performance of medications. For example, it might interact with medications such as penicillamine, which is used for Wilson's disease and rheumatoid arthritis, antibiotics and quinolones like Cipro, Levaquin, and tetracycline, by reducing their absorption. So please, please, please don't just run out and grab zinc. Talk to your doctor. All right, let's talk about the big one. You hear me talk about this one all the time. There's a ton of research out there about the link between magnesium and sleep, especially in folks like me, 55 plus. Sleep apnea is a common symptom of magnesium deficiency in older adults, and there are 3 studies found that magnesium supplementation helps older adults specifically with their sleep. One study in particular showed older adults who took 500 milligrams of magnesium daily found that they fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, had reduced nighttime awakenings, and increased their levels of naturally circulating melatonin. People with low magnesium often experience restless sleep, waking up frequently throughout the night. Maintaining healthy magnesium levels often leads to a deeper, more sound sleep. Now, magnesium plays a role in supporting sleep. It's restoring sleep by maintaining healthy levels of something called GABA. This is a neurotransmitter that promotes sleep. It also relaxes the muscles, calms the central nervous system, and lowers core body temperature. Putting it another way, it kind of creates these awesome, relaxing conditions for great sleep. Now, certain sleep disorders can also be improved when magnesium levels return to healthy levels, including insomnia and, in some cases, restless leg syndrome. Don't forget, magnesium also helps the body a lot like iron, in that it helps build bone and teeth, regulates blood pressure and blood sugar, enables muscles to contract, helps with blood clotting, enzymatic work, things like that. The question I always ask is, why are seniors in particular not getting enough magnesium? Well, first of all, part of the problem is that magnesium content in our food is much, much lower. Also, seniors have a tendency to eat less magnesium-rich food. Seniors' bodies absorb less of the minerals in what they eat, and their kidneys may excrete more of it through their urine. Also, don't forget, SSRIs or antidepressant medication also pulls magnesium out of the body, so you can see why many seniors might be lacking in magnesium. Remember, magnesium can be found in foods like almond, spinach, broccoli, soybeans, peanut butter, whole wheat bread, milk, all kinds of things. But as I mentioned, our food isn't as magnesium-rich as it used to be. When supplementing, experts recommend taking between 100 and 350 milligrams daily. Start with the lowest dose and gradually increase as needed. Remember, high levels of magnesium can lead to things like diarrhea and stomach pain, so please be careful. Start low. You should especially consult with a doctor if you have any type of bleeding disorder, have any type of heart block, or you suffer from any kidney problems. Please, please, please talk to them about taking magnesium before you do it. And honestly, my favorite way to get more magnesium is with something I call banana tea. So, what is banana tea? It's actually exactly what it sounds like, but no tea involved. Go out and find yourself an organic banana, wash off the outside, cut off the tip and the stem, cut it in half, leave the peel on and the fruit in it. Now take these two halves, drop them into about 4 or 5 cups of boiling water, and boil it till the banana turns brown. Then you can steep it and drink the water. It's loaded with magnesium and phytosteroids that help you absorb things, and it doesn't interact with anything because it's all natural. You can give it to seniors, you can give it to kids. It's one of my favorite ways to supplement magnesium. The next supplement is one I don't often recommend to people, but with some of my seniors it can actually be helpful. And that is, you guessed it, melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone produced in the pineal gland that signals your body and brain to prepare for sleep. The main trigger for release of melatonin is light or the lack thereof. Melatonin supplements help you fall asleep, but they don't necessarily help sleep duration or sleep quality. You've heard me talk about my concerns with melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone, and the main problem is that people are eating them like candy. The maximum you should take is 0.5 milligram. 0.5 milligram. The lowest available dose I found looking in the CVS and the drugstores is 3 milligrams, but I've seen it in 5 milligrams, 6 milligrams, even 10 milligrams. People take melatonin versus addressing the real issue. They think it's kind of this panacea and they just pop it in, close their eyes, and hope for the best. I tell most of my patients to avoid melatonin if possible. Here's why I think seniors might be an exception. Number 1, as we get older, our bodies naturally produce less melatonin. Starting around age 40, our melatonin levels start to decline. People who are 90 years old have melatonin levels that are about 20% less than young adults. We also see something called the calcification of the pineal gland. So right in the center of our brains is this pineal gland, which has a tendency to release melatonin. But around age 13, 14, 15, it calcifies, which changes things over time. Issues with light detection due to eye conditions like cataracts can happen over time for older people. And as we see a yellowing of the cornea, less light comes in, and we see more sleep problems. So supplementing with melatonin might be a good idea for some seniors. Certain foods do also contain melatonin, but remember, melatonin helps prepare the body for sleep. So these foods are best eaten at night. One of the big ones is tart cherry juice. This is a great source. If you look at the data, you want to drink about 8 ounces in the morning and about 8 ounces at night, but remember, if you're going to supplement, talk with your doctor. Like I said before, melatonin can interact with blood thinners and antidepressant medication. You want to start with the lowest dose you can find. I'm talking 0.5 milligram. By the way, calcium can help boost melatonin, so make sure to get lots of that anyway. And as we get older, it's probably a good idea. The last one is a bit of an outlier, but I want you to hear me out on this. One of the best and safest supplements for seniors: water. I know we don't often think about water in the same way we think about other supplements, but it can be more powerful for your health than any of the others on the list. Being properly hydrated is vital to your sleep, and lots of older people are on diuretic medications. They might be medically frail, they could be diabetic. So, lots of different things are going on. Sleep in and of itself is a dehydrating event. On average, we breathe out almost 1 liter worth of water every night, just from the humidity in our breath. So really, I want you to start thinking about water the same way you would think about a supplement. There's a specific amount that you need each day, and being deficient in it, otherwise known as being dehydrated, is going to make your sleep more difficult than it needs to be, plain and simple. By the way, I think hydration is so important that I made it one of the 3 dominoes of wellness in my new book. Sleep, drink, breathe. Wellness is too complicated. If you're overwhelmed by the wellness movement, check it out for a simple science-based approach to your health. My book will not only help you get a better night's sleep, it'll help you feel more energetic and less anxious during the day. Pre-order it now. Wishing you sweet dreams.